What lessons have you learned over the last 4 years that you've taken into your practice when it comes to guiding clients on preventative measures or on the leadership side of things? Whenever you're talking to people about leadership, what are some things that you've taken that you've learned that people should focus on?
What lessons from leadership have I brought into my law practice is the gist of it, right? I think leading with virtue is a big part of it. Good communication. The big themes of my book, the Lead Again book, I've written four, but that one is, competence, rebuilding competence, confidence, and trust. So those are the things that I try to focus on, whether we're dealing with the fundamentals of building out a nascent legal department, like how do we improve our core competencies, KPIs, meet the key performance indicators, all that jazz, boring corporate jargon, but it's essential. You got to deal with it. You got to do it. And those things really do matter, in terms of the bottom line. So I shouldn't gloss over them. But then from the leadership into the law, I think the more interesting work, or at least existentially fulfilling work, is addressing areas of confidence and trust. Competence gets you in the door. Confidence can be inspiring, and trust is the currency that fuels like everything. I mean, trust is the fuel that allows everything to happen. I tell clients sometimes, for example, if we're talking about a contract and they push back, they say, why does it need to be so long? Why does it need to have all the boilerplate and all this detail? And I ask them, well, how much do you trust the person? Oh, I trust him, forever. He's my brother, blah. It's ridiculous, And I'm like, oh, good. You trust them completely. And
you shake their hand and move on your way then.
Yeah. And I say, well, you don't even need a contract then. And they're like, oh, I think I do. Why do you need a contract? Well, because something could happen. Like, that's right. You need a contract because something unexpected could happen. You could get an unpleasant surprise. Trust could break down at some point. Maybe you're wrong about their character. There are lots of reasons that you need a contract. But you need it in the event that there's a dispute. Now, that means you need to assume that there is going to be a dispute. In contract world, we assume that there's going to be a dispute. If there's never going to be a dispute and you have maximum trust, you don't need a contract. In fact, you don't even need money to change hands in a lot of cases, because at the end of the day, money isn't necessarily what you really want. Sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it's, I need this for that. I did a recent transaction where a guy was a partner in a business, and he wanted some collateral out of the business. No money even changed hands for his half of the business. It was just this for that, quid pro quo. And those guys had been in business for, I don't know, more than 20, 25 years, something like that. They'd been in business a long time. There was a lot of trust. And yet they were both very good about getting the contract well negotiated, well drafted, using a lawyer, doing it right. And I thought, okay, this is probably why they've been successful in business for all this time, and there was a lot of goodwill at the end. There was no bad blood. It was kind of one of the easiest transitions like that, where, one guy was taking over the business, the other guy was retiring. It's one of the easiest ones I've ever done, because there was trust, but they were also committed to getting everything done the right way, using a qualified professional to do it. It was just seamless.